Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, my gentlemen. We are back with another episode. But before we get started, I just want to clarify. Last episode, the sound quality was a little off. That is for a reason, or it was. My friend was recording over Discord, and I couldn't facilitate a way that would be able to properly have my voice synchronized to his. I was thinking about maybe I record and he records at the same time, but it was all mumbo jumbo. Way easier to, get out on YouTube that way. Although I'm having a problem with uploading the pod to Spotify, which that is my fault, folks. That is my fault, and I'm sorry about that. But we'll fix that. I understand that there are no backdrops to the YouTube videos. I apologize for that as well. Still learning. This is only the third podcast, number 3, I believe. And we are welcomed with a very special guest. One of my spiritual mentor, my physical mentor. No, one person who, disregarding all the messed up shit that I have committed in the past, has consistently always been this positive influence. Say hi, Grandmire.
Hi.
So this is my Grandmire. And as you guys know, this pod is all about trying to have voices heard. And so this is one of the biggest podcasts I've been wanting to do recently. I was thinking about having a solo one next. I'm not really sure. This might not even be number 3. I'm not sure. This might be number 4, number 5. It all depends on how the upload schedule goes. But, yeah, guys. Would you say that's a pretty good synopsis of yourself? Also, fellas, if the quality sounds weird or distorted, I currently have the phone set up on 2 boxes. We are in a basement, and the echo might be crazy. I'm not quite sure, but yeah. So would you say that's a good way to describe yourself? My Grandmire, spiritual mentor? How would you describe yourself?
I would say yes. I've known you since the day you were born.
Oh, that's great.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So I've been around. I have a full knowledge of everything you've done, good and bad, in your life.
Yep.
So there's no unknowns, except when you're out of sight.
Oh, boy.
You have done a lot of things out of my sight, for sure.
Hey, listen. Listen, Grandmire, I don't have any control over the past me. That was
it.
That was Zan 1.0. Okay, this is Zan 2.0, and I can't. If I had to go back and pay for everything that guy did, I'd have to start paying myself back.
Any man putting his hand to the plow and looking back is not fit for the kingdom.
Oh, well, I was making an office reference, but I appreciate what you said as well.
Well, because yours is foolishness and mine is truth.
No.
You were quoting from The Office.
Yes, I was. Which could be interpreted as the truth, quite frankly. If you want to. Or it's a reality.
Right.
It's reality.
It's not reality, it's your reality.
It's not my reality.
And it is funny.
It is an imaginary office full of impossible situations. But no one's happy in an office. Everyone wants to die.
We're in an office?
Okay, not this office.
Are
Cubicle.
you feeling suicidal?
No. Actually,
do I need to call
really
someone
good.
for you?
Actually, I'm feeling really great.
That's good.
Yeah.
You just had a Big Mac and everything. So
some McDonald's. McDonald's was fire. I guess I was more or less referring to, you have to admit that this is a very unique situation that you have stumbled upon here. You don't have any cubicles. You're actually doing something that you want to do. You're doing something that you made yourself. For most people working in an office, it's like this bland, minuscule task every single day.
Yep. Yep.
But
not around here.
And for most people, they work these jobs where they can't help people, and they're not helping anyone. They're not creating anything. They're very dissatisfied with their lives. No goal, no quest, no nothing. And these guys, it's a sad reality for a lot of people. You know, it's very bleak. We talked about it on the last episode actually, but essentially the American dream is dead and has been dead for at least the last 20 years. You know, I would like to have an argument against that. And if you have an argument against the American dream be dead, I would most definitely love to hear it. I've heard really wacky ideas. I've heard democracy doesn't exist anymore. I've heard everything, you know. So I don't know, Grandmire. I think there's a really good quote. I believe it was Carl Jung who once said, most men, and I could be wrong. I'm not a philosopher. I did not go to college, so please forgive me, my fellow philosophers. But I believe it was Carl Jung who said, most men lead quiet lives of desperation. You know, and for a lot of people, that dream is kind of almost impossible. You know, that 1980s-esque, the man goes to work, the mom raises the kids. You know, you don't have to have 2 jobs, you know, and you could be a teacher and live on the lake with a boat, you know, and that used to be the thing. But it seems like that's almost impossible. When do you think that started?
It started with, it was called the Age of Innocence, where you showed up to look at the news at 5 o'clock every night. Now you were deluged 24 hours a day up to this second of what's happening and what's going on. And there's an overload of knowledge. Yeah. When I say knowledge, I'm encapsulating it in good, bad, otherwise.
Yeah.
Everything imaginable.
Do you think some knowledge is bad? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Oh, no! Your poor little ears! The podcast listeners, I'm so sorry. I was just pushing some paper. It's all gone awry.
Oh.
Okay. My bad.
I'm just saying that as a human being, we all have our lane that we live in. And now the lanes are just all... We went from a 2-lane to a 12-lane. Mm. And we all want to be the head of the group. We all want to know everything that we can know because we think it makes us better.
Oh, yeah.
But psychologically, spiritually, and physically, it makes you worse. The United States is the greatest power, the greatest potential in the world. Mm. And yet, we've thrown it all to the side because of, we have the worst food. We had the worst food because we have the best.
Oh, we still do.
We have the best medical because they have to fuel the money.
Wow.
And so you
that's
have
really important.
You have food that's not good for you, fueling you having to go to the doctor, that fuels you having to take medication. And so you're in this place of you have the best of times and the worst of times. I mean, the United States is big enough where you can just go off and live in the woods or live on a mountain. Nobody's going to possibly, if that's still possible now with drones and satellites and everything, I don't think you can ever hide.
Oh, no.
But it is, I lived in a time where you had one phone on the wall. Mm. The luxury of that is that you were able to have accessorize it by a 12-foot cord from the phone to the receiver. So you could actually sit down and talk.
Wow.
So, and now everybody has one. So it's an overindulgence that just has corrupted. I think it's overindulgence.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And the inability for people to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
Because now I've reached my capacity. Oh. Now I have to backpedal because of the fact that I'm not happy. I have everything at my fingertips, but I'm not happy. So you need to backpedal to the place where you will be.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That was great. Genuinely, that was great. You know, I feel like that's a sentiment that really goes underheard. I think that that's something that really goes underheard because, boy, oh boy, you know, I've heard this quote multiple times, and it's one of my favorite to repeat. If we stopped making phones right now, do you think that everything would be worse or stay the same? I am of the belief everything would stay the same.
It would be terrible at first because we're so dependent, and you'd have to make adjustments.
Well, I'm saying
I know how to live with one phone.
Yeah.
In the house.
Mm-hmm.
I have a landline in the house. I could be fine.
Yeah.
Would it make me doing my job harder? 100 times. But if everybody had to rely on that landline, we could manage.
I mean, like, imagine if we stopped making phones. So we keep the current phones that already exist, which is billions. Everyone has a phone right now. And, you know, there's millions, if not billions, of phones in stores. So if we stop making phones, I think we'll be all right. You know, I think for the rest of however long humans are around for, if we stop right now, I think everyone will still have a phone for the rest of their life.
If your phone could still function. Sooner or later, it's not. They're not They're not created to...
We'll go buy a new one.
You gotta stop making them, you said.
Mm-hmm. But
so
there's still
buy.
Warehouses full.
Oh.
There's still hundreds of Amazon warehouses, if not thousands of Samsung warehouses. You know, and all those other phones, Motorola, whatever. You know, there's billions. There's probably more phones in those warehouses than people on Earth.
I have no idea.
You know, and so from my perspective, it seems like obviously this is some socialist nonsense. Quite frankly, but because you can't stop innovation. If you stop innovation, you know you're gonna pretty much cripple the free market. Essentially, you can't just say no more. That's enough. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you were saying. Really, is this culture of overconsumption. And I completely agree. I think overconsumption leads to this form of entitlement, right? Because when you have kids. These kids are born into this generation. Now, obviously, I'm a hypocrite because I was born into the generation. But, you know, you have this culture of people that only see... They have these weird blinders on where you're following these personalities that you see, whether it be online or a TV show or whatever. You know, and this expands our consciousness. This expands it, and then it expands to such a degree where I would rather kill myself than work at a grocery store. I'd rather blow my brains out. And, you know, that's something that I've said at one point or another. You know, I remember saying that. And it's like you set up these blinders. You set up these boundaries for your life. You could apply that to everything. You know, this is why people stay in these with their silly predisposed notions. You know, this is why people stay racist. This is why people stay homophobic or, you know, whatever you want to say. You know, this locks people into this ideological shift because you no longer have that I need to go do this thing. And if I don't go hunt, if I don't go acquire water today, you know, you're going to end up at this place where, and ultimately, it's harder for a rich man to get in the gates of heaven than a camel to fit through the eye of a needle. You know, and with this overconsumption culture comes this overconsumption of wealth. And it turns into this hoarder mentality where a billionaire whose neighbor has like $20 billion, well, now that billionaire will call himself poor. He'll say, no, I'm poor. I only have $1 billion. My neighbor has 20 billion. My other neighbor, he has 100 billion in his bank account. I'm nothing. I'm no one. You know? And it's like, there's real people who exist like that in our world. Whose problems are just so exponential, whatever the word is. Exponential. You know, you can't even... Like, oh, I'm going to buy a business this week, and I'm going to flip it for $1 million. You know, like, that's there every day. You know, I think I'm just going to invest $50 million in this company. We'll see if it turns a profit. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Whatever. It's just a game. You know, and they're just playing with $50 million. Do you know who Dana White is?
Yep.
You know, he is a degenerate gambler. He'll admit it. So it's not like, you know, I love the guy, so... But he'll throw 600K on a game of blackjack, one hand. $600,000.
Yeah, but it's only an
play money.
amount. It's only an amount.
It's play
That's
money.
like
It's monopoly money.
When you look at, I'm going to
But
backpedal
overconsumption.
into your conversation.
Yeah.
When you say, you never would work in the grocery store and all
I've
this.
said that.
You
Yeah.
have to look at things. I have a different perspective.
Yeah.
You're 22. I'm going to be 68 in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I've lived a life of different situations. I've raised children. I've been married twice, and I have 4 kids, 10 great grandchildren, 1 great granddaughter. I have worked forever, and the thing is never look at something as a waste of time, because there's something to be learned, there's something to glean in all of those things. And if it's just perseverance, that's a good thing. You can't buy perseverance. You only
In Jesus' name.
You only can learn it and learn how to stick with it, even when it's less than what you want. Because that it's all things that help you grow. Never look at a situation that is hard and say, "Oh my God, I just want to kill myself."
Yes.
Or this is such a waste of time. No.
Yes.
You make it it's your life.
Yeah.
It's those moments that are going to create who you are.
Yeah.
So there's never a waste of time. There's never that guy was such a pain in the rear or whatever. Every situation in your life, you have to, and I've learned to do that, is to look at it and say, I may not be happy in it right now, but even if it's to keep you from walking back into it, you've learned something. So it can be a learning situation. So every day when you lay down, you can go say, Lord, help me understand what I just did today. Help me understand my anxiety and everything else. And I just give it to you to use for my future.
Yes.
Because the Bible says that he has a plan for you.
Yeah.
If you acknowledge him every day and just say, Lord, I really need to, I really want today to count. It's not going to be part in the Red Sea most of the time. Most of the time it feels like we're going through the wilderness.
Yeah.
But you need to understand that there's an end to it. Life changes in a drop of a hat, to the good and the bad. People pass from your life. Other people are brought into your life. And you need to appreciate that. Because people aren't there forever.
It's the point of this show, man. Oh, 1 second, fellas. Fellas? I am sorry about that. So, currently, I am actually intruding in Grandmire's home right now. She is at work. So, if you guys hear, like, any phones ringing, anything like that, like I told you guys in the intro, this show, we are not professionals here. This is not a professional show. If you're looking for AAA content, you can go somewhere else with that attitude, buddy. We keep it real here. And, yeah. But we were talking about perseverance. And we were, I just wanted to kind of clarify for the audience really quick. Sorry about that, guys. It might happen a couple more times, but that's the way we do it on this show. Get out of here. All right. Sorry about that.
So to go forward again, when you're talking about people, the haves and the haves not, there's always been those people. Mm-hmm. It's just that you're more conscious of it now.
Yeah.
There's more money out there that's ever been before, and there's more ability to get it. The problem is do you need it?
Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's another, it's when you were talking about perseverance, that is one thing that I preach the most to people is perseverance. You know, do something you hate like you love it. You know, learn to do things that you don't like to do. You know, there's a really good neuroscientist named Andrew Huberman. I talk about him all the time. I think Andrew is by far one of the greatest scientists of in my opinion, for biology of our time. I think that guy really keeps it together, you know. And he talks about, obviously, I'm not a scientist. I haven't gone to school, but there's this part of your brain that grows whenever you do something that you hate. And you actually have to hate it. You can't, because your brain, you can't lie to your own brain. Like, you can't go running, tell yourself, oh, I hate running so much, but you secretly love it. You know, you can't do that. So you need to do things that challenge you that you don't like to do, and you make yourself do it anyways. That grows that thing you're talking about. That grows that part of your brain, that perseverance part of your brain. When you activate it, and when you push and you do something you don't want to do, it actually will make it easier in the future. And this is science. This isn't mumbo jumbo conspiracy talk. This is real. It'll actually make it easier for doing things that you don't want to do in the future, and you'll have better control over your own consciousness as a result. And so perseverance, you know, like whenever people tell me, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel, I want to start a Twitch channel, it's like, okay, so do a billion other people. So does like almost every other preteen / person without a plan in the world. They want to start a podcast. They want to start YouTubing. They want to start streaming. They think this is like the easy way out. It's not, you know, but they don't realize that. And my friend tells me he wants to stream and be a YouTuber. And I'm like, okay, don't expect results to your 1,000th episode. To your 1,000th video, do not expect to have even one view. And that's what, you know, out of the pod. I don't expect to have views until like 200-300.
I think the big thing is your ability to understand that people are there to hear something they haven't heard.
Yes.
Some encouragement.
Yes.
Some kind of answer.
People
They already have nonsense.
Yes.
They already have confusion. They already have what's on TV, which is usually a lot of people's biases and stuff. Everything, just remember that human beings are not capable of original thought. There has not been a human being except Jesus Christ that's ever come up with an original thought. From the time you're born, you are influenced by everything around you.
Yep.
That creates thought and everything. So you have to make sure whatever's around you is beneficial to you.
It is so crazy that you said that. Chat, or whatever you want me to call you, podcast listener. We have talked about this on the podcast already. I have never heard her say that before. I swear on everything. But it's crazy that you just said that. It is so nuts. Can you just maybe repeat the last part of what you said, just so I can kind of internalize it? Repeat the last part really quick. Oh, no. Chat, hold on, folks. This is our favorite segment of the podcast.
No, okay.
This is our favorite segment. Okay. Forgetting what we talked about. It happens every episode. Let's go. Yes.
We're going to be 68 in 2 weeks.
Listen, that's okay. That's just fine.
Oh, I was just talking about putting things around you that's worth it. You know, it used to be your brain's like a computer, garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
And that still runs true.
Yeah.
And that is a biblical view.
Yeah.
That whatever you put in there, whatever you're feeding yourself is what's going to come out your mouth. Your words have power. What you hear and what you regurgitate through your mouth only shows what you have retained.
Oh, for sure.
So you need to learn to retain things that are important. If you like funny things, fine.
Yeah.
Don't make it your life to repeat and from a comedian. They're sarcastic. They're just, that's just how they make a living.
Yeah.
But you, as a human being and wanting relationship and success and stuff, you need to understand that how you process what you take in is everything. You can't go by how you feel. Feelings, I could be sitting here working, overstressed. You make popcorn in my microwave and I go to a different place.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just your senses are just there to accentuate your life. They are not there to run your life.
Yes.
You have to learn to leave it alone if it's not beneficial to your life, and you feel bad for a second, and you have to lash out or something.
Yes.
Go talk to yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Because nobody around you needs negativity. It's already out there. If you want to be that positive force in people's lives, you need to be a filter from the world to them.
Yes.
You can't just take it in and give it out. At that point, you're nothing but a scanner or an amplifier or a microphone
or a radio signal.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to make a difference, and believe it or not, the more difference you make in other people's lives, the better you become. Because if you have that positive effect, I know because of my job, I am in social services. I help a lot of people every day, and I can lay down at night and say, yep, I did it.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily make me a great person.
It does.
But it
kind of does. Kind of does. Yeah.
But it's still, that is my worth.
Yep.
In this world is how you can help other people. That's the only reason you're here.
Jesus' name.
You're not here to self-indulge.
Yes.
Oh my God, what a sad, sad way to live.
To only look at the world through monetary value.
Because when that money is too unpredictable.
Oh my God.
Right now money's worth they have destroyed it through printing of more money, taking us off the gold standard. Those are all things that have just really beat the heck out of the dollar.
Giving illegal immigrants paychecks and free phones.
Well, it's not that they gave it to them; it's that they printed money to give it to them.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
When you have an access, it demonetizes.
Yep.
So you're going to have to somehow remove that money to make it worth more. So I can almost think that.
Just raise the taxes.
Well, I think that we need to go back on the gold standard.
I think we need to go back on the gold standard as well.
And because that had Richard Nixon did that, and at that point, everything started to go south. And
that guy, such a sweetheart.
There's good and bad things about each president that's ever existed. They are only men, and
only men. That's important. Men.
It's the power that be behind the men.
Yeah, man.
They're just talking point. They're they just speak for the. Oh.
No, that was an alarm. My bad.
Oh,
my bad. That buzzing was just a little alarm that goes off to remind me to go pick up my girlfriend from work. So sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Sorry.
That's all right. So, there is, the Bible says, choose to stay who you will serve.
Yeah.
And they have to do that every day, too. Are they going to serve the people, or are they going to serve the machine? And I think one of them have been involved in the machine. And we have to understand that they are not the answer.
Who's not the answer? Politicians?
Politician or anybody.
Yeah, man.
Like
but what about Trump?
He's not the answer.
Whoa.
I voted for him.
Yeah.
I voted for him.
Yeah.
You're always going to be voting for the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
Whoever, I think he's got a more moral platform.
Yeah.
But can he change that all tomorrow? If he changes his mind? And that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
we put them there, but that doesn't mean they have to do what we wanted them to do. Obviously, probably 6 to 8% of the time, they are still in the machine.
Sure.
And they throw you crumbs to just keep you interested, you know. And so politics is not, it's not the answer. I think it's, and everybody says, well, what are you going to do? Well, you do what you can do today.
Yeah.
You do what you can do to make things better today. And that, if it's only working on you, then that's what you need to do.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree on that. My only thing is, I don't think he is a politician. You know, and obviously we're gonna digress a little bit away from the philosophy aspect. I want to drift back into it because I did write down a note. Maybe I should get to it first before we talk about democracy, because that is actually one of the things I really wanted to talk about, which was democracy and does it exist today. But I want to talk kind of keep the momentum, because I want to get back to it, but I also want to touch on what you were talking about before, which was the fact that people want to listen to reality, and the fact that people they no longer crave this super scripted, hey, today at 12. You know, no one wants that shit anymore. You want a guy wearing a t-shirt with tattoos on his arms, you know, who's talking about real stuff and is speaking on behalf of real individuals out there, and not this dude in a monkey suit. You know, that's what people crave. People crave this. You know, before the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we were talking about how we're going to do things. And, you know, she was saying that, oh, well, the audio. And that's exactly what I thought, too, you know, when I first started the podcast. But I think that what the people really want is authenticity. And one thing that got proven to me is that you don't need to be a famous person, you know, to get your voice out there, to do something where maybe only one person will ever hear it ever, or see it, or, you know, be affected by whatever it is that you do. But the fact of the matter is, at least you're representing at least one person, and that automatically elevates you above caring for yourself. You are now something bigger than yourself. Regardless if you have Christ, regardless if you have faith, now you have elevated to a point of Christ consciousness, which can be applied whether or not you accept Christ. You are now a part of this unconditional love of our cosmos, of our universe, of everything around us. This is a loving place that we've inhabited, and it is our sacred duty to protect and inform humanity whatever way you see fit, you know. And so that's why I like our little imperfections about the show. I like hearing the clicking on the keyboard when I'm setting up a song to listen to as I'm talking. I want to hear the phone ring. I want to be reminded that these people saying things that I agree with, saying things that I've never thought of before, that are going to completely change my perspective for the rest of my life. I want to be reminded they're real people and not this dude. I love Joe, but let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, his first podcast got like 10,000 views on a live stream, okay? Bro started out famous. I think we need somebody who started out from absolutely nothing and is just going to keep going, and, you know, never, I don't want to be censored. I'm never going to let somebody tell me who to have on this show. I'm only going to do things that I want to do. I'm never going to be self-centered, or self-censored, I should say, or self-centered. I might go on rants, ladies and gentlemen, but these people that I'm going to have on this show, listen, because it might just help you, you know? I would never have someone on this show who I thought was going to have a detriment on your thought, whether that be expanding it to a place that you didn't know, or whether that be grounding you in a place you never thought you would be, you know? So that's the whole point of the show, though. And so I really appreciate that you said that. Really appreciate it.
Well, I think you need to understand, Joe Rogan didn't start with 10 million people because how did he get known?
Yeah.
You know,
The grind, of course.
How old was he when he started his? He'd been
30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he'd been through God
The
knows
Ringer.
what.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
He was delivering newspapers.
And he's a delivery guy. He's a disciplined man.
Oh yeah.
I think that is huge. If you're disciplined in any area of your life,
Sure,
that's huge.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a discipline.
I am not comparing myself to Joe Rogan right now by any stretch of the imagination, folks.
No. But you start somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you live with, like I said, I started my business in my 50s and my late 50s, and I've been in it for 12 years. But all those little jobs before this, all the little jobs while raising my kids, the second shift jobs, you know, I mowed the neighbor's yard for them and got paid when, you know, raising my kids. I mean, just do it.
Yes.
Just do it. It's not, you know, if you got
Cheers.
to, I've even shoveled stone for my brother's landscaping thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would eat all this after I had kids and everything.
Yeah.
Just do it. You have an opportunity, do it.
Yeah. People get obsessed with the people that say no to them. It's very unfortunate. You know, there's a really good quote I like. It goes, "Everyone that ever told you no in your life is going to die within 3 generations. Most of the people that are alive today will be dead within 3 generations, which means not only will you not be that much older, you won't be much older, and now everyone that ever said no to you is dead." We've said this on the show before. I know we have. Everyone's dead that ever said no, so why not do it today? Everyone that ever says no to you is going to die, so their opinions literally mean nothing. You know, all those no's that you ever heard, you should take that as some enthusiasm to say, oh, you don't think that's a good idea? You think that's a bad idea? To think this way, to ask this question? What are you saying? You saying that me expanding myself as a person is going to be detriment to you? To what? You know? And, I don't know. I think that this self, what is the word? The self-analyzation that's coming from today, I think it's leading to quite literally an intellectual revolution. And I think lying is coming to an end. Oh, you laugh about it.
Lying will never come to an end.
Oh, it will, but it's going to be dark. It's going to be dark because it's going to lead to this place where, oh, you love me, and I love you. Okay, let me scan your brain with my brain. Let me see all your memories and secrets. Yeah, don't you love me? Let me see all your secrets. I want to see everything you ever thought in your whole life. Why? I'll let you see my brain. Don't you want to see all my memories I ever had?
Yeah.
And then that's where
where
lying's gone.
We'll ever get to that point?
Oh, we will. And we're getting there within the next, let's be generous, 20 years. I'll be able to read your mind.
I really think it's sad.
Yeah.
Because it's a lazy way to live.
That's what they said about phones.
Yes, and it made you
Yeah, but it expanded everything. We wouldn't even have reality.
Now, they're saying kids used to be 1 in 20 kids was obese. Mm-hmm. Now over half of the kids, almost over 60%, I think it is now, that kids are obese because they live with something in their got skinny thumbs, but they just have no imagination.
Yep.
And they're lazy, and they're self-centered, and they hate to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't know about the creative aspect. I never heard that one before.
Well, I know you are creative because.
Yeah.
But what do you think the percentage of kids? They're living from. We know a few. That's how they live. And,
it's dark.
But it is, a small child who's given a phone at 2 years old, and that's where they live. Mm-hmm. And there's no other stimulation. Oh, yeah. There's nobody taking them outside. They're not going to the park.
Yep.
They're not going to the petting zoo.
No friends, no real friends.
No real friends.
Yeah, man.
You know, and that is the whole thing, is just that you need to understand that everything is permittable, but not all things are beneficial.
Yes, I'm going to write down another note.
If you learn to live with that, you can do everything. That's a good thing. Wake up in the morning and say, I'm free to do pretty much whatever I want to do. But how am I going to benefit from it?
Sure, yeah.
Who's going to pay the price for it?
Well, most of the time you do.
Well, that and the people around you that count on you or whatever.
Oh, sure.
You know, so, I mean, if you're living a bubble, then you don't worry about anybody else. You don't see anything that comes and bothers you and makes you feel in any certain way, then you're going to have a cow about it.
Yeah.
And you can't go by feelings. Feelings will lie to you every single time.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no depth to how you feel, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, I just think that there's a culture change. You know, we were talking before the podcast started.
When you say culture change, what do you mean culture?
Well, I'm about to elaborate.
All right.
So before the podcast, we were talking about sex, and we were talking about like tribal, you know, and dolphins, you know, and for all you podcast listeners out there, essentially what I said was, you know, Dr. Chris Ryan wrote a book called Sex at Dawn, which essentially looked at the habits of dolphins, that the female dolphin would go and have sex with as many males as she can. So when she has her calf and a male dolphin sees her, he'll see that he had breeded her and he won't kill her baby, because female dolphins nurse their young for around 6 years, and they don't breed for 6 years. So as soon as their baby either dies or leaves, they're available to breed again. So the male will kill the calf in order to have. And we were looking at that with humans as well, because, you know, that used to be a trend where, that woman and man is not a part of your tribe, kill the man, take the woman. And sometimes we can convert the kid, but most of the time just kill the kid. You know, and so that's
back to it.
Yes. And so culture change. And because culture change, that word promiscuous, like we were talking about. Back in the day, promiscuous was a love of your tribe. Nowadays, promiscuous is, you're a whore. You know, and promiscuous is the man can never have too much sex, only the woman. There is this horrible thing where it is absolutely disgusting if a woman has sex. It's actually looked down upon in today's society. If a woman has sex, she is a whore, whether it's with one person or 10. But a guy can go around, bang as many chicks as he wants, and he's savage, goated, legend. This is the culture we live in today.
It's always been that way.
And I think, no. Women used to be very, given they didn't have rights, you know, not necessarily in the United States.
It is the same. There was more of a
fundamentally
more of a moral compass. It's more out in the open now. There's no new game. The enemy doesn't bring any new games.
We're talking like
I am talking
small, no countries, no cities.
Yeah,
no
I
states.
understand that, but I'm talking spiritual. I'm talking moral compass is more people who believe that God is a ruler, and there's more people that.
Why can't both things exist? Not meaning to interrupt you,
and Satan is a liar, and I believe in Satan. I believe that I believe in all of that. Yeah. I've been a born again believer for 45 years, and I can honestly say that the happiest I am is when I'm living within the moral guidelines of the Bible.
Amen. Yes.
You know, so there's always been debauchery. There's always been all of that. Has always existed. It should not be more permissible for a woman than a man, or a man or a woman.
God, that's so cancerous.
Don't be an animal.
Yeah.
It's just animals. I mean, there's animals that mate for life.
It's not wrong to be
right.
What is the word when you only have sex with one person?
Oh
my gosh. I know, poly. What's the main one? Mono? I don't know.
No. I think everybody knows. Just faithful.
There's
to
nothing
one
wrong with that. There's
person.
nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely not. It's the healthiest. No. It's the healthiest way to live.
Yes, it is, and there's lots of studies to show this.
Monogamous.
Yes, monogamous. Yes, thank you.
So I think that's your desired target.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, oh, she just doesn't make me happy, or he's not making me happy. Oh, it's how you feel. Again.
Well,
please.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really, really, really hard to get past it. I'm not going to put everybody in the same category. There are millions of reasons why people break up.
Oh, yeah.
There's millions of reasons why they get together. And the whole thing, it's not that easy just to say this is the way and that's how it should be, because it's just unrealistic. But there has to be a goal, personally, I believe, because of my faith. I lived without any kind of relationship with God till I was like 21 years old.
Yeah.
And after that, life was so much better. Did I do everything purpose? Did I have my prodigal son's moments? Yes. Where I walked away thinking I knew better. And paid the price.
Story. What a beautiful
story.
Paid
the price.
Yes.
Big time.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. It's just being, again, my discipline is my faith. That's the only thing constant in my life. I have lost my parents. I've lost siblings. Lost my first husband. Lost other people around me. But then here comes my blessings, my grandkids, my kids, my great-granddaughter. Those are the blessings. They come and go. It's just my consistency is Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Is God. And knowing that he's written down a plan for my life, and I can look at that and take a deep breath every morning knowing it's going to be okay. Regardless of what happens, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, no. I think there's a misconception here. I wrote here sex can be both, but I think you're thinking of it like the terms of breaking up. Like, you break up in a tribe. That's not, no. When you're in a tribe with 20 people, there is no breaking up. Or you just get kicked out and you die somewhere in the woods. There is no, I don't ever want to see you again. There's none of that. You end up starving to death.
Oh, we're talking about third world countries down in the Amazon.
We're talking about our ancestors here who lived in tribes of like 50 people or like 20 people in small little huts.
It depends on how far back you're going to go.
Let's go back. When did the mammoths die out? Let's go the beginning. Oh my gosh. Let's go the beginning of the Ice Age, when having sex was not for pleasure. It was for survival.
Sure.
And there's, I believe, it wasn't the Yucatan. It was, which volcano? There was a volcano that exploded. I would have to look it up. I don't remember what it was called. If you want to look it up really quick, because your PC's open, if you could look up, obviously you don't have to, which super volcano killed the most people? It should start with a T. I want to say it's Tutu, but I don't really know. But that volcano killed us all, and it left up to, I think there was only 3,000 people left on the earth. Yeah, Mount Tabora.
In 1815.
Oh no, that's not it.
Well, it's not going to go back to before.
Which, no. What event? I don't even know really what the type. I just remember hearing about this. It was some volcanic eruption. What volcano almost wiped out humanity? That's a good one. Which volcano almost wiped out humanity? Because there was one, I just cannot remember it. I want to say it was like Tuma. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I've paid more attention in school. I wish that I had some sort of answer for you guys. Oh, the Toba super volcano. Yes, Toba. And this killed so many people that it dwindled the population down to about 6,000, like 3,000 people were left in the entire world because of this. And so during this time when this was happening, you had to have sex, or else the humanity ends with you. And so that happened. You have the beginning of the Ice Age was around 11,500 years ago, when there was, the Ice Age and everything melted. And even after then, there was more people alive than after that. After the Ice Age, there was more people alive after the Ice Age than that. And so during these times, there is no option of, oh, I need to get out of here. You're not my type. No, you're going to have sex, and if you don't, then we're just going to turn you into a slave. So you can choose, or you can be forced. So there wasn't really much of an option back in those days, and you had to have sex with everyone. There is no mono relationship. That doesn't exist. It's not even a thing. It's not even an idea. That's crazy. You're only going to have sex with one person. Okay. You're going to fight? What are you going to fight? Okay. I have been hunting woolly mammoth my entire existence, and you want to fight me? Okay, let's go. So no, as much as I would really wish that sentiment were true, where we all just love each other, man. We all have that one person, man, for everybody, even our ancestors, which is honorable, and I really wish that's how it worked. But unfortunately, there was a lot of rape, and there was a lot of kidnapping.
That's always existed.
Did you know that there is a birthmark for Asians where they have a blue ass? Did you know that? And the reason that is because Genghis Khan had a blue mark on his ass, and he raped about, what was it, 10% of all the women in Asia? And so
a lot of people.
And so most Asian men have blue on their butt because of him, because that was his birthmark.
Wow.
Which is nuts. And so when you start thinking of things like that, it brings this thought of tribalism and that dolphin talk to a whole new level, because you realize not only were they not having sex for pleasure, they were probably also not even in relationships. They were probably not even enjoying their existence. They were having sex to quite literally make people to work in the field. Like the kids were a burden. You gotta push through and persevere. I don't even know how'd they do it? Like, people in the 18th century were dying from blood loss from giving birth, and you're telling me people were having sex in caves? Like, what are you saying?
Well,
so
I'm
it's
sure
like
the mortality was very
for
off
sure.
the charts.
Oh, for sure. But it's just crazy to think about. It's like there were dudes who were not wearing gloves and delivering babies, and many
but
babies.
If those babies were not perfect, then they destroyed them.
Now imagine I'm delivering your baby, but I'm wearing a leaf right here, and I'm going, like that's
I don't
so
believe.
nuts.
I do not believe that we came from monkeys. So
well, that's ridiculous. But your
I'm
own belief?
ridiculous.
Oh no, that's crazy. You don't think that we came from primates?
No.
Have you ever looked at the neurosynchronization of an orangutan?
They're a form of.
So we share.
They're another creature. Yeah.
We share with orangutans.
It doesn't matter if you share anything.
Our DNA?
We share eyes with everything else on Earth. That doesn't make us one of them.
Is it because of the Bible that you don't believe in evolution?
Yes, because I believed in the Bible that we were created.
Now, this is, fellas, once again, going off on a limb here.
If you don't...
I'm not a biblical scholar, like I say every episode.
No, you're not even close.
But there is nothing in the Bible that disproves evolution. Not even a single thing.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm going down a rabbit hole right now. But, and like I said,
choose to stay. That's all I can say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I'm getting all this from a pastor. What's his name?
Oh.
Cliff something.
There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
Why be a pastor if you don't believe in the Word?
Oh, this guy's really good.
No, he's not. Not if he doesn't believe in the Word.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I'm talking about here. Cliff, whatever his name is. And he's been on college campuses debating for like over 40 years. Him and his son.
Oh, I know who you're talking
amazing men of God. You know. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we can get him on the podcast, boys. Come on, let's get him on the podcast. But no.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and this guy is such a mighty man of God. And I mean, when I saw him go on that podcast with Logan Paul, and Logan is just the whole time just trying to rub it in his face that Christ isn't real, and he's just bouncing back at every turn. It is just such a fight for the Lord, you know, and that dude. And so, you know, like I said, I'm not a spiritual or you know, biblical scholar, but when this dude comes out and says, actually, you don't need to deny science. You don't need to. Actually, the Bible clarifies in science that, no, we do actually have control to manipulate nature. Like, the Bible says that we are able to manipulate nature to benefit humanity, which is why hunting, which is why gardening, which is why all this stuff. You know, and there's very good evidence. But, yeah, man. And so, but the problem, this is the problem with saying that evolution didn't happen, is you have so many plot holes in your argument.
You have to have just as much faith to believe evolution as you do creation.
That I think that you're kind of messing it up here.
You depends on who you listen to.
Because evolution does not require faith at all. What requires faith is saying that
it's believing what you read is true.
No. So I think you're getting the quote mixed up.
You're reading a book. You're reading an article written by somebody, and trusting that it's true.
So I think you're interpreting when I say evolution. I think you're saying that I'm saying that the universe expanded from nothingness, which is not true. I believe that Christ made the universe, or, you know, obviously Christ, Trinity, you know, whatever. You know, I believe God made the universe, but I do believe in, what is it called? It's called panspermia. You know, the idea that God quite literally inserted his DNA into this primate, and then it just kind of exploded. But that's why we have hair on our knuckles. This is why we have these weird, ginormous egos that allow us to be like, oh, you want to hurt my family? You're dead. I'll eat you alive. I will eat you. You know? And there's just these weird things that happen in our brain, like, why do we get so upset about talking about sex? Why are we scared of death? What is this next? Why do all these religions talk about the same things? Why does the Bhagavad Gita have so many biblical stories? Why is Buddha talking about Christ? Why is Christ talking about Buddha? Where is all this information coming from? You know, and there's this, it's almost a reciprocating cycle. Man starts in cave, and then we kind of loop around, and then we write a book about a God that we worship, whether that God be dead relatives, whether that be the sun, whether that be animals that we hunt. We have to worship something, you know, and that is the most fascinating part about humanity, in my opinion, whether or not they want to follow my faith, whether or not they want to, you know, adhere to my ideology. What matters most is that we all have this shared collective that you are me and I am you. And the only difference between you and me is that you have lived in 360. That's what you were saying earlier. You are your experiences. And if I lived your experiences, I would be you. And if you lived my experiences, you would be me. And that is something
I don't know
so
that is
many
true.
people miss. But that's what you said earlier.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just
you
saying.
said you are a bundle of your experiences, which
I
is
am.
absolutely true.
But the thing is my decisions in those situations might be totally different than you would have.
But you only made those decisions because of something you've seen. Like you said,
But
you've never had an original thought in your life.
That's
It's impossible. You know, and so when we make these decisions, we're acting on this weird subconscious thing that's saying, okay, like maybe it's making you lean a little bit harder this way. Maybe it's making you lean a little bit harder that way. But this is true, man, you know?
But you still do have a brain that processes things.
Sure.
And unless we had exactly the same brain, even our experiences are going to be different.
You know, you got a point there. You can totally absorb the experiences differently, 100%.
Okay,
Because everybody's brain is different.
Here's one that we both know as true.
Uh-huh.
We used to ride in a car, going to school, listening to the same music.
Yeah.
You had a total different reaction than I did.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Oh, boy, yeah. But, you know what's funny about that, though? You still understood the music, though. You still understood the purpose of why that music was being played.
As much as the music itself just kind of grated on me, if you stop and listen to the words, sometimes they're just trashy. There's no redeeming value to it. But there are moments that you can hear, you know, I mean, obviously they were written by that person that meant something. If they're just up there making noise and saying the F word every other moment, and
they do that sometimes.
I know they do.
They do that sometimes. Yeah.
There's no redeeming quality to that.
Yeah. No, I agree. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
He's eating.
Got a little chicken nugget.
Oh, cold one. It's like rubber.
But no, I really want to harp on that though, because I think that goes underspoken. You know, I think there's a few things in this world that if we embrace them more, and I want to get back into what we were talking about with democracy and all that stuff. But I think that there's a few things that I should say, and you can make some last remarks on this topic. Two things would be to love more. You know, maybe we do three, because I just came up with another one. Love more. You know, understand that you are your experiences, and the only reason that you come to the conclusions that you make in your head, it could be how you were programmed, but you don't have much control over that. All you can do, the most you can do when you're gathered up and you're feeling anxious or you're feeling upset, presence, you know, try to feel what your hand feels like, or your fingertips and your arms and your legs. Try to feel what the insides, how you feel motionless. And then open your eyes, look, close your mouth, and listen. Then you are observing everything around you, you are hearing everything around you, and you are motionless. This is the ultimate way to submit to the present moment. It is the greatest way in the world. You know, and I think that so many people are not living in the moment. So many people are living in this false reality where you can just kind of mope around, and you don't need to have any inhibitions, and you don't need to have any goals or some sort of adventure in your life, and you can just stay this docile, adamant little man stuck, man. You get comfortable being stuck in this super trashy situation that you're in, and you have no one to help you. This is why I think this podcast is, you know, a really good thing, even if it's only for one person, you know, is because you learn that, yeah, it is okay to talk to my grandma about deep things. It actually is. It is okay to say these outrageous ideas with people who love me, because regardless if it's crazy or not, they're going to tell me if it's crazy, and I'll have a better understanding about my ideas, my initial idea.
And still love you.
And still love you, man. And if the people you're talking to don't love you after that, well, now you know who's your family and not. Now you know who you can and can't trust. If you can't talk to people and be open and honest, and talk about your past experience, man, that's the worst. We were talking about that before the podcast, you know. And we might have to do a part 2 to this podcast, because I know we're starting to break ground here. Hold on. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we're at an hour and 5 minutes, you know. So we may just have to do a part 2, depending on how long you want to go. You know, the longest. I think we should go for like maybe 20 more minutes. You know, keep it at an hour and a half. We don't really want to push it too long in these beginning episodes. We kind of want to keep it kind of nice and tidy. So I'm thinking maybe like 20 more minutes-ish. I don't want to put any... Obviously, if we get in a conversation that goes for the next hour, I'm not going to check the time and look if it's only been 20 minutes. I don't care how long it goes for. Just kind of a... But, yeah, you know, and we were talking... Sorry. Dude, darn it, man, darn it. I think I know what we were talking about. It's got
nothing to do with being 68.
No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's genetic, man, genetic. But I think I know what we were talking. We were talking about normal people, right? When normal people.
Just, you know, and the thing is, you got to have a constant thing in your life.
Yes,
again.
A goal.
Again. Something that does not change.
Mm-hmm.
Something that is your anchor. Something is your go-to. And if it's not the Lord, if it's not God, then you're in really stormy weather, because you have nothing solid to grab hold to, because the Bible's been around for 2,000 years, over that.
Oh, I was going to say plus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you go all the way back to...
Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you got to have a constant.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a constant. If you feel like life is just... You're out there flying around, whatever happens, you're just a victim. Stop being a victim. Oh, my Lord. Uh-huh. What a way to live. Stop being a victim. Take everything that's happened to you and use it. Use it. Don't internalize it and just turn into the biggest whine baby ever.
Oh my gosh.
We've all been through crap.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of us have been through it. And you could say, well, no, I don't care what you've been through. You can use it against the enemy who put you in that situation in the first place.
You have white privilege. You are a cis white male in America. You are privileged. How dare you?
You're white. You know, it's like, well, you know what? God created me white. He created you black. I'm married to a black man.
Mm-hmm.
Half my kids are black.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like, get over yourself. Get over yourself. You're only, you know, if you can't succeed in life, don't blame it on me. Get up and start moving.
That is the nuttiest shit.
It is. Again, you have the Asians who are
oh my God.
Above the white population in monetary.
Well, not just above the
else.
white people, above everybody.
No, in this country, they're above
everyone.
Yeah,
you know,
and they didn't so far. They didn't get there as victims.
Oh no,
we locked them up during World War II.
Oh, buddy, we have.
So they're more recent than slavery.
Well, and here's the thing. This is the most recent thing that's been happening. Asians score so high in college scores, and they test so well getting into colleges.
Because
they have literally made rules that said they need to accept less Asians.
Yep.
They need to start accepting more African and Latino members of colleges. I'm not a racist. My kid is a Mexican. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, her husband is black. Fellas, it's not a racist issue. This is a societal issue that is a serious problem.
We have everything.
I am not an Asian man, and I could say there is an Asian discriminatory problem in this country. There's genuinely, you want to talk about racism, let's talk about the fact that people are being denied college education based on their skin color.
Yep. So, and it just comes down to, I don't care what color you are.
Oh my God,
are you
couldn't care less.
Are you gonna,
Yeah.
And
there are
true bigots out there. There are
so sad.
There are people out there.
These words have been co-opted by the progressive left. These words like, say that again? Bigot. These words like toxic masculinity. These words like racist and fascism and fascist.
They mean nothing
and
anymore.
Nazi. These used to be words that actually represented something. These words used to be, when you called someone a fascist, when you say you're a fascist, that means that you are pushing a political ideology by force or violence. And that is a real thing that used to exist. Now, to all the podcast listeners out there, there has been an update. There has. I don't know if I talked about this previously, but when I Googled the word fascism the other day, Wikipedia has updated their website. I believe they've updated it
all the time. Anybody can go in there and change it.
Oh, not really. They have a list of people who can change it.
Well, that's anybody.
But before, they had it in the Webster's Dictionary, ladies and gentlemen. Or not Webster's Dictionary. This was Wikipedia.com. And they said that fascism was a far-right movement, which obviously, if you know anything about anything, isn't true. Hitler was a liberal. He was a social liberal, socialist, part of the German Socialist Party, the National German Socialist Party. And, there were several different ranks of socialist leaders. I've done the research, folks. I've seen the documents. I've seen it. I've read the information. And so these words have been co-opted by this literally fascist group called the Progressive Left. They're actually fascists. Isn't it funny that everything they say about other people, they do themselves, by the way? It's absolutely hilarious, the hypocrisy of the progressive. And I'm a social liberal myself. So it's like, what? But I just can't stand for trans kids. I can't stand for wanting to take people's guns away. I can't stand for wanting to take people's rights away. This is why Tulsi Gabbard has switched. This is why Vivek Ramaswamy has switched. This is why Elon Musk has switched. This is why Donald Trump has switched. We can go on and on and on. This is why, oh my gosh, who was the chick that Trump used to make fun of a lot? Rosie O'Donnell. She just spoke at a Trump rally,
She did?
She did. She just spoke at a Trump rally.
What?
Because she is sick and tired of the liberal left.
What?
Yes, I saw the clip.
Are you
Watch
sure?
the clip.
I'll have to look.
Pull it up. Let's find it. We are allowed to pull up clips on this show. That's what we know. We are allowed to pull up clips based on my own opinion, folks. Based on my own opinion. That's what I love about this show. I can pull up whatever I want, whenever I want to. We got Grandmire over here, the podcast producer. Folks, we're going to have to pause the pod. This is my favorite part. Love you guys. Bye-bye. One sec. Ladies and gentlemen, update. The clip I saw was fake. Folks, I apologize.
Oh.
Holy cow.
Oh.
We had to pause because Grandmire got a call. And while she was in a call, I proceeded to look up if Rosie O'Donnell and Trump have made up Turns out she's the OG Donald Trump hater. She has always hated Donald Trump.
Always.
Not even for politics. There was a plot twist, Miss USA pageant scandal that I had no idea existed in 1991. So, whatever.
Either.
But no, there is two things that I really want to talk about. One of the things we probably won't get to. So let's finish off this conversation with one last topic, and this is the topic of the Midnight Gospel. This is the topic of Duncan Trussell and of death. I had you listen to that episode. And,
I watched it.
And that, oh yeah, you watched it. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let me just tell the audience, because I don't think I've talked about the show yet. Midnight Gospel is a Netflix show created by Duncan Trussell. The show is essentially a podcast but animated. So they actually did a real podcast, as if you listen to Duncan, you know he has the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. So he actually pulled a few podcasts from his actual podcast and just added a few extra lines of dialogue with like his episode with David Nectarn, you know, the spiritual mentor, Buddhist guru. You know, hate calling people guru, but if you call yourself that, then I'll call you that. Whatever. You know, and he just had David come in and just kind of record a few extra lines of dialogue. Now, if you don't know Duncan, you know, cancer kind of runs in the family, and his mom, unfortunately, got diagnosed with cancer. But before she passed away, he was able to do one of these podcasts with his mom. You know, it was supposed to be longer. I believe, this is not confirmed by Duncan himself. I believe that podcast was supposed to be longer, but I think she was taken too soon. You know, and so for the last topic, I would like to talk about the Midnight Gospel and death itself. You know, I personally, you know, this is one of the biggest foundations for me as a person, is death, you know, and the Midnight Gospel. Those are two things. Midnight Gospel, death, Joe Rogan. If I didn't meditate on one of those things, I would not be the same person that I am today. You know, and it's not without those things that I would not be able to fully appreciate this life if one of those three things was not present. So I just want to preface the conversation by saying, in the wise words of Hamilton Morris, do you believe heaven is a funny place? Do you believe after you die you go to a funny place? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's joy. It's just everything you thought it was. It's, you know, it's joy unspeakable. You see the people that had gone before you, and everything makes sense. Everything you ever wanted to know will be answered.
Yeah.
And you go to the place where, why God originally created us was to fellowship with Him, and so that is the ultimate place. I mean, I have read a book. It's called People Who Have Died and Come Back.
Yeah.
And these are documented. It was written by a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the stories they had, and they all say that, you know, once you go, you don't want to come back.
Yeah.
Because everything makes sense there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more draw to anything else.
Yep.
But it's a place where death does not exist.
Oh.
When you die, you step out of time.
Yeah.
And into eternity where there is no time.
God, that sounds great.
Time was created for our realm.
Mm-hmm.
Because evil men have to have evil and good men, but mostly to keep evil at bay, you
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to end it in some people. And so when believers die, they go to a place where they have, this one lady said there was a reunion tree where families were gathering. As one came in, they would just all gather there. Because there's no
tree of life.
Yeah.
Wow.
There is no death. So there was this beautiful clear lake where people were having picnics on the bottom of the lake. Because there's no way to die, you know?
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are animals, so I know where Rusty is.
Rusty! Oh, Rusty's a wiener dog, folks.
He's gone.
Tragically died.
He's gone.
Oh my gosh.
But
Rusty.
so everybody says, "Oh my gosh, of course, why not? Why don't your pets get to go there and greet you?"
No, I agree.
And
I'm of the same belief.
But you have a king.
Yeah.
A righteous king.
Mm-hmm.
You don't vote him in, you don't vote him out. Your days of trying to figure it out are over. It's a place of rest where you feel God's pure love.
Yes.
And the people that are there with you. And it's an enormous place, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Every race imaginable is represented there.
Well,
and
my next question would be, and you kind of touched on it, I think whether you're Christian or whether you've just done psychedelics, I think we all kind of know that heaven exists, because an atheist, obviously, they don't have any sort of idea. So
they don't care.
So for us that do believe in the next realm, I think a lot of us know that there is a next realm, but I don't think a lot of us really think about what happens in that next realm. I have a couple theories. One of the theories is boring and not a lot of people are going to enjoy, but it's what I think actually happens. I think as soon as you die, well, obviously, first thing that happens is judgment. There's two hells, believe it or not. There's not just one hell. There is two. There's a hell while you're in heaven. And that's the look everyone gives me. I love this. I love this so much because that's
you better
the look.
Have something.
Oh, for sure.
Does the Bible back that up?
Yes, the Bible backs that
up.
It
does.
Yes, it does. There is
Please
hell even in
where
heaven, man. So when you die, you will be shown what your life would have been if your whole life, at every turn you chose Christ. No matter what, at every turn, if you chose Christ, this is how different your life would have been. And so I think even with Christians, there will be this fraction of hell. I think you will, for the rest of eternity, be haunted with this fact that, oh my God, my life, I could have accomplished so much more.
Yeah. You don't want to leave it. It's called the Bema seat.
Yeah.
And it is a judgment where you go...
Wait, what is it called?
Bema. The Bema seat.
Bema seat? Where did that name come from? What the heck?
The Bible.
Really? I never heard that before.
Yep.
I made that off the top of my head.
Well, your works will be judged.
Yeah.
And you will be shown your opportunities that you missed.
Glad it's a real thing. I've been saying it a lot.
But it's not hell.
Ooh,
it's not, because all that will be dismissed. You've made it.
Yeah,
There's no
Surely.
condemnation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like saying, Riley, you just mowed my lawn, and look you missed the whole patch right here.
Yeah, I think that's kind of.
Are you going to lament over that for eternity?
No, but I think that you have, because in this world we can really only pay attention to so many things. I think up there's not going to be a lot of things that I think you're going to be untethered. Your brain is going to be infinite. You're going to know everything.
Right.
So I think, obviously, we're going to be in heaven. You're going to have a great time.
We're not going to be up there with regrets. Once that's over, that will end.
I believe there's a catch.
Nah, I don't believe. God's not a catcher. He's pretty darn open up with what.
True. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, in forgiveness and His grace, the ultimate grace is unmerited favor. You can't deserve it. So right there takes away any of that.
Well, and you might be right. I have not died yet.
Right.
I have not died yet, so I do not know But that's one of my ideas.
Grace is...
And I get what you're saying 100%. You know,
No.
I don't think that you're going to consistently, but I do believe that in the back of whatever this weird thing consciousness is, whether consciousness is an extension of your spirit, man, whether consciousness is this strange extension of your brain, and it's just the way your neurons are firing, I don't think that's what it is, folks. But whether that is what it is, I think that when you die, your consciousness goes with you. And I think your consciousness will be up
You
in
have
heaven.
to understand, just like God's a triune God, your body is also like that.
Mm-hmm.
You live in a body, you have a soul, which is your thinker, your reasoning, and all this stuff. But you're also spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they say, you know, I need to decrease that the spirit man within me might increase.
Yeah.
The Christ in you will take over if you let him.
Yes.
But the guidance of the Bible is what assures that you're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
He expects us to take, it's like buying a sports car and never taking it over 25 miles an hour. That is not why it was created. It was created to go wide open as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And the whole thing. The Bible's our manual.
Uh-huh.
Read it. Apply it to how you work.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only, the Holy Spirit leads you into all truth.
Yeah. And I'm not arguing with that. You know,
Right.
definitely
That's why
definitely
you need to read it. You can't just make it up as you go.
Oh, yeah. No. That's not what I'm saying. But
Clear.
the Bible is super vague about heaven. Super
Oh,
vague.
it is because
Super vague.
Yep.
You know, and that's why I've come to these conclusions. Because, you know, unless the Bible blatantly says that you will never have negative thoughts in heaven, you know, I do believe that every Christian does have their part to play in this big thing. I don't believe that a born again goes to hell. I don't think so. And when I say hell in heaven, I say that more of as a metaphor. Less of a literal. Less of a literal. I don't think you're actually like in heaven. But I do think that you might have a couple bad thoughts. You might be like, oh shit, if I just tried harder in that life.
I think that there's a couple different things that you may be thinking about. Now, when Christ comes back after Revelations and stuff, and he sets his kingdom up on earth, and there's 1,000 years where he will reign on earth, men will still have their own wills to make their own decisions. I don't know that if that's ever removed. The problem is Satan is not in heaven to be the tempter or to cause confusion or even questions.
Wait, before what's removed? Ego?
Your will.
Oh,
you
free
will
will.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
But Satan will be removed. He's not allowed in heaven.
Oh,
so the temptations are not there.
Yeah.
The confusion is not there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so only good things are right. Think of your best day with Addie in the park.
Oh, of course.
You're not tempted to do anything.
No.
So, I mean, man is able to enjoy freely without the world caving in on him.
Yep. And that's where the second hypothesis comes in, which we kind of dabbled on earlier when we were talking about our ancestors, you know. Humans have always wanted to worship something, whether it's the sun, whether it's ancestors or dead animals.
You were created with a void.
Exactly. And so I think my other hypothesis is that when you see the Father, and you get there, and you're like, hold on, wait. For all my podcast listeners, this may be the sound.
No, that's not even, no. No, it's not. No.
And then you just everything kaleidoscopes into these geometric shapes that are twisting and turning and grinding.
Okay, now we're in hell. That's not heaven. If that's going on,
No,
that is
dude,
not
no,
heaven.
I disagree. I disagree.
We
I've
don't
been there,
have
man.
any-
I've been there.
Yeah, I
Dude,
think
I've been
you've
there.
been somewhere, but I wasn't there.
No!
Not if that's going on.
Grandmire, no.
It's music. It's calm.
But let me finish this really quick. And so because we've always been worshiping something, I think once you see the Father, you're literally gonna just drop to your knees and worship Him for the rest of eternity. You like we may be as human beings.
There are already beings that are. We do go in. We do worship.
Oh yeah.
We do. Jesus is constantly in our midst. And but the Father was always on the throne.
That's what I'm saying, man. And I think
everybody's going to be there. Everybody's going to want to be there. But remember what Jesus said: "I go to build a mansion for you."
Yes,
just
that's
for
my
you.
favorite. That's my favorite.
If
quote.
it was not true, I wouldn't tell you this.
Yeah.
So I think that you need to understand that you have a place.
Yeah. I think that's the coolest.
You're going to live next door to me, right?
Oh, of course. Come on. Well, that's the trippiest thing about having, there's the two trippiest things are what I already said, which is you may be so infatuated, just as a human, you may be so infatuated by the Father that just for the rest of eternity, you may just drop to your knees and just
I tell you know why? Because you're going to remember where you came from.
Yeah.
You're going to remember.
Saying,
you're going to remember the struggles you went through.
Yes.
And if you're going to have remorse, you're going to be saying, "Oh, the time I wasted, all the things that I thought I knew."
Well, that's the hell in heaven theorem.
Yeah. Well,
that's the hell in heaven.
think, but that will wear off.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're going to just overwhelmed with God's overwhelming love.
Even God
gets
has
rid of all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the whole thing because you have perfect forgiveness.
Yeah.
That might go, but again, you won't have anybody there to run it past you.
Yeah.
The enemy's always there to whisper in your ear, to tell you that doesn't make sense, to, just urge you on in another direction. He will not be there.
Yep.
The tempter will not be there.
Let me say this, though. And this is interesting that I heard. You should be grateful that Satan's existence. You really should. Because if it weren't for him, you wouldn't have free will. If it weren't for him,
you
would
still
never
have free will. The problem is...
Barely.
The problem is, and people don't understand it, that, they say, we've killed so many babies through abortion, and we've done this, and we've done that. Those things have always existed. The Moabites sacrificed children. They used to fight all the time. War has always existed.
Yeah.
Satan does not have any new games. He only has new players.
Oh, no.
And the stronger he gets and the more people he pulls in, it says that the way of hell is like a 4-lane highway. Many go in because they don't want to bow the knee. They want to have their own way. They want to say, it's okay. But they okay themselves right into... and it's not that... And they're driving the car. Mm-hmm. They can pull off at any time.
Yeah.
But they chose. God never sends people to hell. He honors their wishes.
Yes. And
your wishes on this earth are the wishes you take into eternity. And that is to not let God interfere in your life.
Listen, man, and some people get washed up in that way of living. Some people just full send that I do not give a fuck about anything ever. And they do not care. And you can... It is so sad when you care about people more than they care about themselves. It is the worst.
To make a decision for Christ does disrupt your life. Mm-hmm. Your Grandpa Randy and I were the first ones in the family to be saved. In a huge family.
Yeah.
I have 7 brothers and sisters, and they had kids. Randy had 5 brothers, and they had kids. I had a mom and dad. He had a mom that was still alive. So when we come out and we say, we're born again Christians now, Don't you think for one moment,
Yo.
you know this family. They don't hold back anything.
Yes.
So but you know what? It was all worth it because they all got saved.
Oh my God. Yes.
I don't know where they are now with their relationship with the Lord, but at one point they all made a decision for Christ.
God, that is so beautiful.
And so you have to believe that, we were called, we were the first ones in the family, but you know what? It was all worth it. Everything, weren't invited here, whatever. And, but you know what? It was okay.
Yeah. No.
Everybody, because if you can live it in front of people, they'll desire it.
That's why I openly admit that I love the Lord on the podcast. I might cuss, folks. I might say the most horrific things that you may have ever heard.
I'll wash his mouth out after we're done here.
And I will let her do that. It's okay, folks. I will be okay. But I openly admit that I accept Christ because that's something not even Peter could do. That's something that even the disciples who existed alongside Christ could not do. And I think that it may be...
They did it. It cost them their lives.
Oh, well, not Peter. He denied him 3 times.
And then he was the head of the church after that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they're complete screw-ups. I'm just saying that there were times where even the disciples fumbled.
Even the disciples denied him.
Yes.
And
so that's a mistake I don't want to make.
Right.
And I'm not... For the love of God, folks, I'm not comparing myself to a disciple here. But
you can be a disciple.
Yeah, and that's the goal. And that's just the thing, man. So I will openly admit it because if you guys can hear that I'm not ashamed, that I love Christ, and I'll put all my flaws right on the table. You guys can look at everything. I'm not hiding nothing from you guys. Like I said, this is going to be the realest show that I can make. I'm going to get people I actually love who actually got something to say. That is the whole point of this thing, is to remind people it's okay to be yourself.
Yep.
It's okay to believe things that other people tell you that is not okay to believe.
And you're going to be a totally different person in 5 years than you are right now.
Yes.
Because I love you enough to intercede for you with the Lord.
Yeah, man.
And you love me enough to pray for me.
In Jesus' name.
And that's the whole thing.
Yes.
That's what encourages each other, and that's what causes change in each other's life.
Sharpens iron.
You have to be willing to put your foot in a slamming door sometimes.
Folks, it's our favorite segment. Pause time. Never mind. Not pause time. I guess it's okay.
It's okay.
But, yeah, folks, and I just want to remind you, like I said before, and I'll say it again, you're a normal guy. If you're a normal guy, remember that you can make change. Whether that's big change, small change, whether that change is just elevating somebody's day and asking them how they're doing, or encouraging one of our brothers and sisters towards enlightenment in Christ. This is, and in my opinion, as I've said, I think that is one of the only ways that we'll be able to elevate ourselves. There is one question I wanted to ask about death, and I wanted to ask you one more thing, and then we can cut this thing.
All right.
Going back to heaven, what do you think? I understand you were explaining like the feelings and the thoughts, but what do you think? What activities? Let's say when you're actually up there, because I would like to imagine myself. Sorry, folks, I don't know why I'm so gassy today. So gassy, I'm burping like crazy, dude. Don't know why. God. But besides all the emotions, besides all the thoughts, what do you think we're gonna be doing up there? I would like to think of myself as I want to explore the cosmos. I really do. I want to fly.
I'll go with you.
I want to fly through the cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see other galaxies. I want to see other dimensions. I want to explore. Because I think God made everything. I think space is infinite. So I want to just go as fast as God will permit me to go in one direction and just full send through everything. And, you know, I'll come back. I'll be back, but I think I got to go there for a little while just to see what's up, you know. But maybe that's not an ideal, and maybe that's just an idea. And maybe my other idea of worshiping God for all eternity and how we instantly just drop to our knees when we see the Father over infatuated by the fact, okay, we are the first humans to actually see what we're worshiping. Like, this is it. It's not a sun. It is this thing, you know? Whether it's a man or whether it's something. I don't know what God is, dude. You know? But whatever he is, or she, or whatever, you know. That's another podcast right there, dude. That's another podcast. But yeah, what do you think we're actually going to be doing up there?
What do you want to do? You just stated some things.
Oh yeah, but one of those things go on for the rest of eternity, and the other thing goes on for the rest of eternity.
I think you got plenty of time to do it.
I agree. You know what? I agree with that 110%. There is. You know what? We might just leave it off there. I really like that ending. I love that. And it actually leads us into our next segment, which is personally, folks, you guys should know this by now. It's my favorite segment. Would you like to lead us in prayer?
I can.
To lead us out of this podcast? I really love that. Awesome.
Heavenly Father, we just come before you in the name of Jesus. Lord, we don't understand everything. We don't do what we should do every single day. I just thank you for your grace, your unmerited favor toward all of us, Lord, that are in the process. Lord, I pray for anybody out there that is listening, Lord, that they would just open up that void in their life and just say, God, fill it. Lord, you are an expert. You are God. You created us. You know exactly what that person needs to have the peace of God in their life. Lord, I know, Lord, that you've done it in my life. I've been walking with you for 45 years, and I know that you are faithful even when I wasn't. It's one thing about you, Lord, no matter what I do, I can turn around and you're still there. Oh. You come after me. I thank you so much, Lord. You honor my prayers when it comes to everybody else that I pray for, that we have an open door, that you listen and that you hear us when we pray. You know what we need before we pray, but Lord, you desire to hear our voice. Let us speak this day to you, Lord, in the name of Jesus. Amen.
In Jesus' name, amen. Grandmire, that was an absolutely beautiful prayer.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you for being on the podcast.
It was fun.
Seriously, I
fun.
love this podcast.
I'll do it again.
Gotta be one of my favorite podcasts. I cannot wait to have you on. We only touched up on 2 things on this list.
I know.
We only touched 2 things, and we are almost on 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for leading prayer.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. If you made it all the way through this podcast, honestly, you are a legend. God bless you. Christ is King. And I'll see you all in another episode. Bye-bye.